Welcome to Metaphile Minutes. In today's podcast, we meet with Inga and Susanna. Ingo and Susanna, and we're going to talk about how they're currently utilizing accounts payable and some of the extra function sets to really improve their day-to-day workflows, be able to offer more than just an accounts payable solution. And, if time permits, maybe we'll talk a little football. Now, Metaphile Minutes on our podcast, we like to look at understanding how AP automation is improving the day-to-day work at many different businesses through looking at it through the lens of the finance professional, the tech enthusiast, or even a business leader trying to figure out how to improve their ROIs based on their investment. So with that, I'll pass it off to Ingo and Susanna to introduce themselves, and then we'll dive right in.
Hi, I'm Ingo. I'm the AP Intermediate Accountant here at OSEG, so handling the full cycle of AP from invoices coming in to final payment to remittance processing.
Hi, my name is Susanna. I'm the junior accountant here at OSEG. I've been working with OSEG for almost 2 years, and I assist Ingo in the AP processing.
Okay. Well, hey, guys, I really appreciate you coming back. For our viewers online, we've done this once. I forgot to press record. So you're going to get to see it for a second time. Best thing to do when you make a mistake, own it. When we talk about that, because often there are mistakes that are made in accounts payable and in that overall process, what do you think the biggest mistake companies are making when it comes to account processing and trying to automate that workflow?
I would say from my perspective, it's going overboard, trying to look for one solution that covers all of your needs from the start of the process to the end. Whereas if you segment things up and divide the process into, okay, here's things that would work well within one workflow versus here's the back half, which works better underneath another work process. Remembering that not everything's perfect, so dividing up segments to make them easier to actually find a solution for.
I think from my perspective, it's like just the manual work of it. There's a lot of instances that there could be human error. And I think that's where automation does the best at it, or tries to do the best at it, and it manually reduces the amount of human error, which is very important in accounting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, not only are we looking at debits and credits, making sure everything checks, but human error it occurs no matter what we're doing. So being able to have a process where you take human error into account, but you also have stop gaps and fail safes so that you can catch that human error before it gets too far down the line. Can you guys walk me through an example where your current AP automation platform has been able to help stop an error from occurring or from causing too much downstream effects?
Do you want to take it on, Ingo, or I take it on?
Sure. I have a small example I can think of with the variety of invoices that we process within our organization. We see them from different sources. Sometimes it's the vendor reaching out to the person within our organization who requested the work, versus other times their finance department is sending it directly to us in our finance department. So we're receiving it from multiple sources and then processing it through, uploading it multiple times, getting those duplicates caught and removed right off the start is crucial to not having it continue further.
And that happens today, right? Like those duplicates are caught, they're flagged. Maybe they've gone a few steps in terms of going through trying to verify them, but they do get caught before they ever write into the ERP.
Yeah, immediately in the processing, the duplicates are stopped there instead of making it to the approver stage and them recognizing that it's a duplicate.
Now, I mean, in your business, you have many different lines, many different kind of subcorps, if you will, that make up the overarching parent company. Now, do you find that it even interacts that way within those subcorps, just so that we're not paying the same invoice twice through different divisions?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. Yes, it does. I think the solution that we found, it was basically put everything under one sub company, especially for those that have multiple invoices across entirely. That helps a lot. So from there we go from there. So I think in the future that will be something that we will look into automating it. Maybe like if we want to spread it across multiple entities and it will be able to cut it in between those, that will be amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's just the futuristic state of being able to just really like continue to bring the automation and start to now sprinkle in the autonomous piece of it and just really building in that intelligence, right, to be able to do that as well. So we dove right in as we were talking about my mistakes last time we met. But did either of you guys ever have the opportunity to work in AP departments when everything was done manually, or have you always been part of the automated kind of new age, if you will, of AP in that division?
I've worked a few different jobs in like inventory control and like factory management where it's a lot of manual processing and it adds a significant amount of time having to manually create a invoice and attach it to a document within your accounting system instead of having a processing system that attaches a document, pulls the details and kind of sets it up for you to review.
Okay.
I think for me it was a little bit more different. For me it was more like the filing or the system itself. It was very on hand. It was old school, old records. So like if one invoice was gone, it was probably gone. Somebody shredded it, and they were like, "Okay, I guess we don't have it." But
Right.
I guess having it now digital is 100% way more useful because we can go back in years and look at it and be like, "Okay, these records are accurate or inaccurate," and review it rather than like looking at it now and be like, "I don't have it on hand. I don't think we had it ever."
Yeah. Right. And that's it. I mean, it's a great point. You know, both sides of the coin there, really, because not only would we have shredded a record, but there was also the other side where everyone was so afraid of doing that that you would just have filing cabinets building up. Now it's all virtual. Now, how long do you keep your records currently before you purchase them? Is there anything in place, or kind of
Yep,
just hold
yep.
on to everything forever?
The 7 years for accounting standards, we had
Okay.
quite an interesting situation, as you mentioned, with the keeping of everything coming out of COVID. When I first started here at OSEG, we had hey, we need to go over everything because for the past 3 years, nothing has really been touched. So we had to go through just boxes and boxes of records to go, oh, can
Wow.
this be thrown out? Or, oh, is this still within the time frame that needs to be kept? Does it need to be put back into storage? And we ended up having, I think it was 2 pallets full of just boxes of records, invoices, GL balances, stuff that's all virtual now.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. It's like just like skids full of it,
Yeah.
of documents that are either going to be that are now kind of irrelevant or shreddable, or that still need to go through the process and be ensure that they're scanned and kind of just stored away. Do you think that the document management is an imperative piece of the overall offering when it comes to AP automation, or do you think documents being stored just within the ERP themselves is sufficient?
Um, Personally, I would say having both the document record keeping all within kind of one system makes it significantly better instead of having to go through files to find invoices or to find records, being able to just go into the online system, go, okay, I'm looking for this vendor on this period, and then now there I have all the invoices from that month available for me to reconcile, go over the details of, look into, forward to, say, stakeholders, say that department's doing a reconciliation of their
Right.
security expenses for the month. Okay, here's everything that is attached to security for the month.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the idea of being able to just go and search and everything's in that one centralized, location of truth is huge. How often do you use the search functionality to go back and try to find, previous invoices or records?
On a daily basis, I will say, especially when like people are asking for inquiries for a lot of things. Um, we do have a lot of, and I guess for me, it's a huge amount of influx of invoices. So it's nice to be able to keep track of everything. And like when somebody has an inquiry, to be able to search it. Um, the other thing is like it's nice that now we have the automation in the beginning of the stage of like the invoicing. So like I now can look at like the very early invoice that just came in like yesterday and it's already inputted there. So it makes
Right. Yeah. So go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say the idea that it comes into the inbox and it's right away ingested in, and it's ready for you to be able to action, or at least make note of it being in the queue is, I think that's a huge step, so that you're not having to always kind of go back and refresh and update. It just happens in real time, right? As they come into that inbox uptake.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
that was one of the upgrades we made to our system within the past. I think it's over close to a year now,
Yeah.
where we used to have the profile builder software, and then we've updated to the actual AI system.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference in processing from instead of uploading to the profile builder system where it pulls what it knows, but the rest you have to do yourself versus now
Yeah.
with the AI it pulls it much more efficiently. It pulls more vendors, and then also just being able to access it within the Metafile system instead of having to use a separate program to build the profiles. It removes a step and removes an additional program that you have to open and use.
I mean, that's a great point. Is the idea of being able, like, I mean, AI is not going anywhere. I mean, I think the three of us can all attest to that. And so when you start to find products where AI is starting to be built in and just become natively within the releases and within the software itself, it does open the door to so many other areas that you can utilize your time to be more efficient or to come up with different workflows. And it's really changing the industry as we know it, and it's going to really change the landscape of IT over the next 10 years. I think quicker than even the internet did. I mean, what are your thoughts on that in terms of AI and how free we should be with it, or what kind of restraints we should put on it?
Susanna?
I think like when it comes to AI is very unique this scenario. I think a lot of people, especially the older generation, have very negative views on it. That is going to replace their jobs, is going to take over. But there is always going to be the human aspect of it. I think AI, what we're implementing it is basically trying to find solutions for things that are very repetitive, that just cost a lot of time for us, especially in the processing time. Ingo probably can testify on that more. It just takes a huge chunk of time away from it, and that's what we like. It's not
Yeah,
drastic, but it's useful. That's what I will put it as.
no, that's a good point. Ingo, do you have any opinions? You must have some thoughts on AI.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen the implementation usage and I've seen the benefits of it. Looking out at like a broader spectrum of the world for AI and especially within business, I think it's important to remember that you need that human element of review and you need
Mhm.
that human processing. And AI is to be used to make processes more efficient, remove the small little things that take up like 30 seconds of your time to have to do an extra step. There's no reason that an AI shouldn't be able to pull that data for you or look into that data and set up the next steps ahead of your review. It's important to have the human review aspect, but like Susanna said, the AI can do that repetitive, the stuff that takes unnecessary amounts of time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it. No matter what, like, as much as AI is the acronym that we use, and it is intelligent and it is artificial, it's still really kind of, it's intelligent learning. Like, it's not autonomous yet. So, I don't think we're gonna have to worry about Terminator coming around the corner anytime soon. But I think that, like you said, the utilization of it to reduce 30 seconds or 45 seconds in a workflow that you repeat 15 times a day. And that adds up, right? That starts to really build up over the course of a week, a month, a year, to having a lot more time to focus on other areas. And that's really one of the main, I think, returns on investment when it comes to accounts payable, and when you can automate from the accounts payable. I mean, really from procurement to payment. You can automate that whole workflow. You are now creating, you're now a broker in the currency of time. You're giving that time back to your clients to be able to utilize it in other facets to keep growing their business and keeping themselves future proof. I mean, when we look at your current platform, what's the best feature you think, or the feature set that you think, on a daily basis? I'm so glad that like this is here because it saves me, or it just makes my job better.
I've said in the past that it's the system itself, having the system in place where everything's housed, all the receipts, all of the data related to the documents, all the comments that are attached to it, having it all in one place to just go and be able to search or be able to direct someone to, whether it be the vendor following up about details on an invoice or a payment or reasons for delays, or it's an actual employee, like I mentioned, they're wanting to review their expenses for the month, being able to just go and have all the data housed in one spot. As Susanna mentioned, we operate multiple companies, so we have those expenses spread out across multiple different entities, but being able to view it all in one place and access it all in one place saves a lot of time instead of having to go into each individual company to pull the data.
Right. Right. Susanna, what about you? What's your favorite feature set? I want to circle
I
back
think
on the expense there with Mitch, but I'll go to you.
I think 100% I do agree with Ingo. Like everything having it in one system is more useful for us. I think in the future it will be just nice that things can be a little bit more modified, which is okay for now. It works 100%. It's just like for example, the searching a broader area, that will be great. I think that's where the AI is missing, but other than that, it works, and I am pretty happy with it. I'll say.
Okay, hey, that's great. I mean, I'll start. I'll come back to Ingo, but putting AI into more of the feature sets, or more of the automation capabilities allows us to start being able to pull KPIs and pull that, create dashboards that allow you to track what's relevant to you. That could be different than another company, whether it be down the road or in another province, another country. Like everyone has their own goals and tasks that they're trying to get to, but with AI, you can then individually be able to pull those and monitor them. So not only will you know if something's late in terms of a payment, but you'll know like where are you spending most of your money, with what vendors that spend, who are your top 5 vendors that the largest capital goes out to, and really like just start to be able to crunch numbers within the program through the use of AI and just that artificial learning, but also just like utilizing data. It's data. Data was the currency of the first decade, if you will, of the I guess maybe it's 2010 to 2020. Like first it was the internet. We survived. Then it was data. Now it's really like AI. I think is like kind of what's going to happen in this decade. And then next decade, maybe we're in outer space. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I like the idea of adding it, of that mentality of like we've put it in somewhere, it works. How do we keep expanding its capabilities, keep enhancing what we're able to offer, to folks like you and Ingo, but also then what that frees you up to put your time and your focus on in other areas.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Or if
think,
you keep growing your business, that many more businesses to have to reconcile.
I think you make a great point, and you kind of like switch my light bulb on, and it's like I think one of the things that I would like to see in the future, it will be like if we can see how much is being spent in our
Right.
system. That will be a great thing, like seeing like how much influx of like reports basically generated. And I'm pretty sure AI will be a great implementation to pull that data and like solidify it. But yeah, you kind of like light my little
Yeah.
light bulb right there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. As Susanna mentioned, the ability to like look at data for metrics within a system is kind of something that people forget. It's not just a processing system. Everything's there to be able to kind of
Right.
review, to go over numbers, see how much happened within a period. It
Mm-hmm.
provides those, like you said, performance indicators.
And it's tough for a lot of us. Like that data is there currently, but we don't. It's not native to know how to just start or how to dissect the numbers to get to the data you want. But AI, you're able to like put that in because it just fires so many more times a minute that it can do this in real time for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, circling back, you mentioned the expense reporting piece and that area. How many individuals are use the expense reporting? And is expense reporting just corporate cards where you are, or is it personal and corporate?
We have like kind of two separations within that.
Okay.
The corporate cards are a little bit different as it's within like the corporate entity, and those are given more to department heads and different
Okay.
sections within departments, whereas the expense report side is specifically for employees on general to submit expenses. So whether that be meetings, bills,
Okay.
those kind of
How
expenses.
many employees are submitting expenses, you think?
Um, I think out of the organization, I would say close to 75%.
Wow.
Um, our business is, like I said, very broad. We operate multiple different entities, so it fluctuates depending on the season. What team's playing, then we might have more expense reports within that team because
That's
they're
a great
always on
point.
the road.
Yeah, good
Uh,
point.
versus kind of during the off season in the spring and fall when things are died down, there's a little bit less being submitted because people aren't as
Right.
active.
Oh, wait till you see what's coming in Friday. Home opener. Those of you who don't know, Red Blacks home opener. Going to be a good season this year.
Yep, Red Blacks versus
I have the
Montreal.
colors behind me, but these aren't. It's not my team. I'm a Red Black and White guy, so I see it there.
Got our
They're
jersey right here.
like, here's hoping. Here's hoping that all the analysts and what we're seeing in preseason is going to turn into us being a great cup this year. But I digress. I digress.
Yeah, we could talk about football for a while, so.
Yeah, I know, right? We'll do a second podcast on that. From the locker room. With the, I guess, like we talked about what's there, what you'd like to see. Paint me the picture of how automation and how where your role wherever you may be in your head in 5 years. How does automation continue to make your life better? Like, how do we simplify the everyday?
I think one of the things that I've talked about before is there's currently a little bit of a disconnect between the final processing within most systems then to the payment. There's connection and overlap where the systems communicate with each other, but being able to display all the details and having all the data interconnected between the two systems would make it a lot easier. Kind of bringing it all in, like you mentioned, of like a dashboard where here's all the information of this invoice from processing to payment, and here's all of the backup attached to it at once instead of having to look through multiple sources or track down, okay, here's when it happened, here's when the payment happened, here's when it actually
Right.
went through or was applied.
Yeah, no, I mean that's it. I think that's got to be the next evolution as we continue to grow. As ERPs are changing, there's a lot more of that that's being like pushed back right through the APIs from the ERP that we can utilize and then really make a better decision based on what the numbers are showing us. So believe me, I will take that away with me to trust the right people. And when invoices come in, do you find invoices, do they come in just one invoice at a time? Do you often get a lot, multiple invoices that are coming in that you need to then split? We've just recently added as a feature set, the ability to automate that. So as an invoice number changes, boom, it just cuts it. So now you get, 10 invoices in one PDF. It becomes actually 10 invoices in 10 PDFs. Easier to GL code it, save it to wherever it needs to be. Is that something you would think is a advantageous, especially having so many entities within your umbrella?
I think it is. I think from my side, especially, a lot of people submit a lot of invoices, and sometimes they submit invoices that are like related to each other, or they're with the backup separated. Um, so it will be nice to like be able to separate it instead of me going to another software and like spend another like 2 to 3 minutes separating invoices to re-upload it, right? And like I think there is definitely a market for it because I will appreciate it 100%. Because it's on a daily basis I see it. It might not
Right.
sound like a lot, but like if you start adding up the numbers and the time it actually I spend on it is insane and it's mind-boggling. And I'm like, can you not send it like this? And can you separate it from me?
Okay, 1 yard at a time to get a touchdown, right? So,
Right?
it is just incremental wins, but the less time you have to change the screens you're on, and you can just focus on one screen, and everything is kind of point and click, and it's happening. The easier it is to have your other screens doing whatever else you need to be happening. So now, you're automating your own workflows in your own workday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I will love the AI in the future to do is like if we can merge the files together. Because there's a lot of people that send backup information or backup documentation for it. right? And if you can like just merge it in the actual meta viewer, or it
Can't
will
you put it as a
be
supporting
amazing.
document though after the fact?
Huh?
You can put them as supporting documents, so we just don't merge them in real time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like it will be nice just because like if I have to upload it again, it's like it just creates more of a hassle for me to be
Yeah.
able to download it and this and that. But like other than that, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I
As I
mean,
was
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
As I was kind of speaking earlier to the AI separation versus together, it's one thing for the AI to know to separate invoices out, but we have some unique situations where we process settlement invoices to big promoters or larger clients. And within that settlement, we have multiple invoice backup documentation. So the AI needs to learn that for this vendor, I don't separate the document that's being submitted based off of the invoice involved. I need to look at the first page, that's the actual invoice. Everything else is just support. Like as Susanna mentioned, again, with merging, we have backup documentation where we receive things from leagues or from universities where there's the initial bill, but then there's also some backup explaining the variety of expenses, and having that backup combined at the time of buy an AI system would save Susanna time on having to combine documents.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I had never heard the supporting documents side of it broken down with that example, and so like to hear it that way, I'm able to put it into a different context. I think than when I heard it yesterday with a customer that I was in front of, and so yeah, that's a good point. We should like supporting documents. It allows you to. It's at least there's a place to put it, but it's not as one. It's like
Yeah.
snowman. Like it's the next snowball on top instead of it still being this part of the same ball, if you will, right? So okay, I mean, I'll take that's a great point. AI. I mean, that's exactly the kind of stuff AI should be able to do, right?
Yeah, yeah. It means the AI needs to kind of learn the vendor more specific. And as you mentioned, that's kind of the machine learning that's going to happen through the
Right.
future as the AI develops, it becomes more specialized and it learns the aspects of your business.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Um. What What would your day look like if tomorrow you came in and MetaViewer or your AP solution was not working or like wasn't there anymore? How much would that set you back, or how much would? And I know it's hard to really quantify, but I like to always understand like people ever thought about what work would be without the frustration of the ease
Yeah.
that it is now. But no matter what, there's always something that's frustrating. So, like walk
I
me through what that would look like.
I think it's because it's been a year and I started without like the automation in viewer and it was more the profile builder. I can see that I will take a couple hours more. Not even minutes, a couple
Right,
hours
hours. No,
more
I
at the
agree.
time.
Yeah.
Because now I'm able to actually action inquiries that are coming in on real-time basis, whether I had to wait. Like I will have to choose between like, oh, do I wanna like answer my emails or do I want to like process the invoice? Because it will take me a couple hours in order to do it because I have to manually enter every
Right.
single thing and I will absolutely hate it.
But that's only the first time of the profile, right? Or am I mistaken on that? Like you had to do it.
Yeah,
But
for me, it will be
I
three
can't imagine how
hours.
many profiles you have. No, no, I get that. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, the profile builder was good for picking up profiles once built, but with the aspects of our business and the seasonal work of hockey and football, as well as an outside venue, we operate with a astonishing amount of vendors.
Yeah.
Right.
There's always some kind of unique thing that we need a specific vendor to fix, whether it be like fancy metal railings to stone brick patterns around the outside. Everything's kind of
Fair.
specialized.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think about your property and like just the landscape, even,
Like
like
just
all the
thinking
different
about it.
restaurants and stores. Yeah, the whole thing is intense, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, we make intense easy to use, and so I mean that's one of the benefits of doing the automation. Now, as ERPs are starting to it's a topic everyone's having because like the old are kind of going away and the new coming in. Are you two excited about the opportunity to reevaluate and alter processes and dive into it, or does it kind of freak you out the idea of like just the chaos that comes with the overall entity change?
I think it's like, especially I think for Ingo, it might be more true, but like during COVID, a lot of us like graduated, especially the younger generation graduated during COVID, where a lot of things were moved online. So it facilitate us the learning opportunity of like moving online and like having the opportunity to try automation and all this kind of stuff, which it made us excited. I think like for us, it's something that we see in the future as like something that's not gonna go away. So like we kind of embrace them more. We don't think it as something more drastic, but something as a simplified solution for everything's little things. I think you might have more experience if he's been working in OSEG longer than I have.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, definitely. You see the little parts of the like resource system that's available. It's this little thing of adding GL line comments. That's an important update to have. Implementing, like we said, we switched over to the new AI system. It improves things, makes things a lot faster.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but then like, and it's interesting. And I've never broken it down that way again. You guys are like opening my eyes. This is the second time we're having the conversation. Opening my eyes around the idea that there's the whole generation that's just come into the workforce. It's nothing new because it's what you know. But for like my generation and even the one that older than me, it's like it's an altered way of approaching things, and therefore the resistance that just comes with a natural the uncomfortable friction that creates that resistance makes it a bit more like it seems tedious to us. Whereas in DO, it's like, yeah, just new learning online. You just do this, and then we're going to be there. And so it's kind of amazing just to even like hear that, yeah, hear that way of thinking. Like
Yeah.
I still print things off, even though like, I make my notes in a notebook because I want to be able to. I still like that pen and paper. Whereas in so many now, but that I work with, younger than me, like they're just typing away, and like that's their new norm. And so I like to hear that again. That's
Well,
interesting perspective for me to think of today.
yeah, Eric, to touch kind of on the previous question about losing, like having the enterprise resource system just disappear from us. If we had to go back to that, like you said, manual entry of going back to people, people kind of forget the amount of work, additional work that creates. Because at least in our system, so we have the invoice coming in, we need to then allocate it to the accounting system, to the correct expense accounts, and to the correct events. It then also needs to receive the initial employees' approval as well as their manager's approval, and then the document needs to be uploaded into the accounting software and then processed for payment. That's a lot more manual communication, back and forth stuff you're waiting on. Whereas with an automated system, we process it through, it gets put to the correct approval, and then it's there for them to access. We don't have to chase, we don't have to follow up. It's like you said, online, easy to access versus pen and paper in front of you where it can go missing, it can delay
Right.
it. When it's all online, it's right there. You get the email that, hey, you have to approve this invoice, and it gets processed a lot faster.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good point. It's just like the overall, just the speed. I mean, I know I keep coming back to the currency of time, because I think it's a great slogan, but but I do think it's true. Like I think that there's two things in life you don't get back. I mean, and really it's time and at the end of the day, kind of years. But I guess that's still time. I was gonna say time and money, but you can always get money back if you work differently or work, and you can always get oxygen might be different, but like time you never get back. So maybe that's the
Yeah.
one thing you can't get back. So if I can give that to someone, I mean, that to me that's better than any other return you can find. So that's a great point. Now, in summary, if you were standing in front of someone who was on the fence about if now's the right time, speaking of time, to make the decision to go to automation, or if now's the right time because everything going on in the economical world with tariffs and cross border and in wars in Europe, like what would you tell them about AP automation, or just in general about being on the fence around looking at automation as a whole? Like what would you want to tell them? And what do you wish someone had told you, you know, years ago to get you to the point where you're at today?
I would say, kind of as mentioned, the best time to implement AI is, and any kind of automated process is yesterday. You can always build and improve off of a system that has been put in place. But as I kind of mentioned at the start, is you have to remember to kind of segment your automation and your processes. Most people will want to look at a whole picture solution, and sometimes you have to remember that, okay, here's the first half of the process, and I can automate this, whether it be the uploading of the invoices and the distributing the data, and then you have to manually build it from the rest for the approval onward to payment. You still save so much time having that invoice automatically uploaded into your system or the data prepared for you. And
Right.
even if you're saving a little bit of time there, by the end of the week, if you're saving 45 minutes a day, that can be a whole nother client you're acquiring or a whole nother part of your business that you're actually able to get something actioned.
Yeah, that's a great point. 45 minutes is literally, I could be a whole other client. So
Yeah.
crawl, walk, run, segment. Should have done it yesterday. That's my exact summary of that. That's how I'd AI that and do an exact summary, but I like that. I mean, it's a genius way to make sure that even if you fail, you don't disappear. You just get back up, brush off the dirt, and keep running.
Yeah.
Susanna, what would you say to someone?
To just try it. I know a lot of people are more hesitant, but just try it. The beautiful thing about AI is that it has so many learning opportunities and you can customize it however you want because it's a learning machine, right? Essentially, you can task it to do whatever you want. So, like, try it. And if you don't like it, you can change it. It's as simple as that.
That's it. No, I like it. I mean, in last month's podcast, we had Eric Toomey, and he said, just dive in, just go for it. Now it's like, just try it. So, I mean, and that's just the proof is that there's never a perfect time for anything in life, but the best time that you can do something is today. And so with that, I'll wrap it up with, let's turn one day into day one and start doing your research, look into accounts payable, look into automation, look into AI. And if you have any questions, as always, reach out. Eric Humes from Metaphile Minutes. And then go and Susanna. Thank you so much for the time today. And I will hit stop record because I know I missed it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.